Oh, I prefer authenticity because they're so old. I like to keep things the way they were. And if you fix one from the ground up and fix everything the right way, they do work. They're dependable. The only thing is they're not fast on the road. And one way of changing that is to put an overdrive in them. You can at least do about 55 miles an hour with them then, so they're not real terrible. When you restore any old vehicle, authentic, they're usually worth more money than one that's been chopped up or put a V8 in or anything else. So usually the more original something is, worth the more money it is. They're bad riding vehicles. The suspension on them were made to work with, not for the road. The steering and the brakes aren't the best, but if you have them and you're only doing 40 to 50 miles an hour, 55, you got to be a little careful, but it's not like driving a new car with power brakes. You know, you got to put the brakes on a lot farther away from the stop sign, and also going downhill you got to press a lot harder on the brake pedal than you do on a new car. Try and keep the parts as original as you can, as much as you can afford to do. For the most part, almost any part you need is almost available to restore it, so you really don't have a problem getting parts for them to keep them original. But it's a lot easier making them original than it is to modify them, because when you modify something, you have to engineer everything you do, what you change, and for the most part, most people don't end up doing that too well. And then at the end, when it's done, they're nasty to drive, they don't handle, and all the other stuff, like if you put your springs on top of the axles, they're very unstable because they're so high off the ground. And that's another reason I like keeping them original. When we used to four-wheel and stuff, we went with a lot of guys with newer pickup trucks and everything else, and our old Jeeps outperformed many of them newer vehicles, and we sort of made fools out of them a lot of times with them.
I like the drivability because each Jeep is different. You know, no matter what somebody does to it, it's going to be different than the other guy's Jeep that he modified. You do it right, it makes it maybe a little bit more drivable, makes it go a little faster. In today's world, everybody needs to go fast, you know. So if you're doing 40 miles an hour, you get run over on the road. First thing I tell them is you have to be able to make any kind of parts you need to put that Jeep together, because you're not going to buy anything off the shelf to put it together. You have to be a master fabricator, down to making mounts to mount the engine, to making a wiring harness. So it's a lot more complex, and you do get more money into modifying a Jeep than if you would just restore it back to originals. You have something different, no matter what show you go to, and you know, you could put this motor in or that motor in, and they're all different from what the guy next to you has.